Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We've got a really fascinating one for you. Today, we are unpacking a philosophy from a text called The Path of Inner Richness by Xu Feng. We're going to explore a completely counterintuitive idea, the concept that true, beautiful simplicity can actually only be achieved by first embracing intense complexity. It's a real journey of the mind, and I can't wait to share how these insights might just completely change the way you view a simple life. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. We are going from the illusions of emptiness all the way to the highest realms of human thinking. We'll cover the illusion of simplicity, the wealth of the ordinary, breaking the single path, finding Tao in everyday life, the 2 types of simplicity, and finally, the 8 realms of thinking. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The illusion of simplicity. Redefining what it means to be simple. We're kicking things off by challenging the naive idea of simplicity that most of us probably hold. Usually when we hear the word simple, we think of something plain, unadorned, maybe even a bit empty. But Xu Feng asks us to completely rewrite that definition. True simplicity is absolutely not a state of emptiness or ignorance. It doesn't mean being barren, dull, or devoid of charm. And it definitely doesn't mean being simple-minded. Actually, it's defined as having a meticulously ordered and deeply rich internal landscape. It's about having a pure, beautiful heart that naturally captivates people. It's an inner world so incredibly full, yet so perfectly organized, that from the outside, it just appears wonderfully simple. And there's this quote that just nails it. Only after crossing mountains, rivers, deserts, and peaks can one finally rest in a kind of ordinariness that is truly exceptional. The author is insisting that this exceptional ordinariness isn't just handed to you. You have to earn it. You don't just wake up one day profoundly simple. You have to endure vast, challenging experiences. You literally have to cross the metaphorical mountains and deserts of life's complexities before you can settle into that pure, exceptional state. Which brings us to Section 2, the wealth of the ordinary, the paradox of Jingong. To really hammer this idea home, let's picture a fascinating historical figure, the legendary monk named Ji Gang. Now, outwardly, this guy looks entirely impoverished. His shoes are worn out, his hat is tattered, his robe is completely threadbare. If you just walked past him on the street, you'd probably assume he was a simple, destitute man with absolutely nothing to his name. But wow, talk about appearances being deceiving. That outer shell completely masks his inner reality. The text tells us Ji Gang is wealthier than billionaires. He can supposedly turn stone into gold, and while he looks totally inactive, he actually accomplishes everything. His inner world is extraordinarily rich. It just goes to show that true simplicity on the outside often hides boundless capability and wealth on the inside. All right, Section 3, breaking the single path, embracing chaos and complexity. So, if we want this inner wealth, how do we actually get it? Well, Xu Feng directly challenges the classic advice of picking just one single spiritual path and rigidly sticking to it. Instead, he offers some pretty radical advice. He says we need to aggressively diversify, experience all religions, read every scripture, follow various masters, explore unconventional paths, and even taste wild fruits. The whole goal here is to gather a massive variety of experiences. That is how you gain true discerning wisdom, instead of just staying stuck in one-sided prejudice. And the text suggests some truly wild, cross-pollinating pairings. Get a load of this. If you study Marxism, you should also be reading the Bible and Buddhist texts. Are you a scientist? Go delve into spiritual knowledge. Qigong practitioners should study feng shui, astrology, and the I Ching. And if you're into fortune-telling, you need to go learn about quantum physics in the holographic universe. It's this beautiful, chaotic mixing of completely opposite fields that creates that rich, diverse inner ecosystem we're aiming for. Section 4. Finding Tao in everyday life, grounding the ethereal. Now, let's shift gears from all those high-minded philosophies for a second, because you don't actually need quantum physics or ancient texts to find enlightenment. The author playfully points out that an astute sage can find flashes of spiritual insight in the most incredibly mundane places, like literally playing in the mud with children, or eating, drinking, sleeping, playing cards, even playing a round of mahjong. These are all actual methods of practicing Tao. Enlightenment and Zen can literally be found in everything you do, provided your inner world is rich enough to actually spot it. Section 5. The 2 types of simplicity, the journey back. Okay, so we've gone out into the wild complexity of the world, mixing religions, sciences, maybe playing some mahjong, and now we return to simplicity. But we return fundamentally changed. So let me ask you, is a glass of water, just a glass of water? Sounds like a trick question, right? Well, it's actually a profound metaphorical test of how you view the foundational elements of life. And this builds the critical distinction between what the text calls the first simplicity and the second simplicity. In the naive first simplicity, yeah, a glass of water is just water, and a person is just a moving, monotonous object. But in the enriched second simplicity, that same glass of water becomes a rich, colorful world full of wonders, and a person transforms into a magnificent palace filled with rare treasures. They are absolutely worlds apart. Because think about it. Monotony leads to boredom, and boredom is just plain uninteresting. A lack of inner richness makes a person monotonous. But when you possess vast internal chapters, diverse life experiences, and varied landscapes inside your mind, you become so fascinating that people might actually want to playfully devour you. Like when people say they just love someone to death. Moving on to Section 6, the 8 realms of thinking, elevating the mind. So how does all this inner richness actually change our brains? Well, the author breaks down our cognitive abilities into exactly 8 distinct ascending realms. These are material, image, associative, illusory, visualized, taiji, formless, and ultimately holographic thinking. Moving from basic material perception all the way up to complex holographic understanding means your mind is literally expanding its dimension. The text claims that as your thinking ability strengthens, fueled by all that inner richness, you ascend closer and closer toward the realms of celestial beings, Buddhas, and gods. Finally, our conclusion, the ingredients of a soul. As we wrap up this explainer, let's bring these lofty spiritual concepts back down to earth with a highly grounded and honestly slightly humorous metaphor. Without ingredients like oil, salt, soy sauce, vinegar, star anise, Sichuan pepper, cinnamon, cloves, galangal, and black pepper, it's hard to cook a delicious meal. I absolutely love this. Think of your soul like a kitchen. All those vast philosophies, quantum physics, mud playing, and diverse sciences we talked about, they're the essential spices for a mature, delicious life. You can't just rely on sunlight and water. To make something truly magnificent, you need the star anise and the Sichuan pepper of varied life experiences. So, dear ones, enrich your inner self. Take a look at your own menu of life. What unexpected ingredients are you missing from your own inner recipe? Maybe it's time to read a book completely outside your field, or just go find some zen playing cards with friends. Go seek out those new, complex ingredients so you can finally achieve true, beautiful simplicity. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer today, and I'll catch you next time.